Thank you again for joining us today on the Road to Recovery. I'm your host, Ronda Jackson, serial entrepreneur and small business advocate. And right now, I wanted us to take an opportunity to just do a little pit stop, do a little self-check on the road to recovery. And I have invited our guest, Ms. Yeshiva Davis. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and her practice is K&S Therapeutic Services. And Yeshiva is going to help share with us and give us maybe some coping skills, some advice, so free therapy sessions. So ladies and gentlemen, put your pens down and let's give Ms. Yeshiva a very warm welcome. Yeshiva, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you so much for having me. Hey, everybody. As Rhonda said, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also the president and founder of K&S Therapeutic Services, and we do two things at K&S. One, we work with pre-licensed therapists, so people who are learning to be therapists, and we help to teach them skills that they can use with clients so that they can eventually get licensed. Then we also work with kids and families and couples, and we help them to improve their relationship through communication skills or helping them with depression or anxiety or the other things that come up that make being in relationships with others difficult.
Yeah, thank you, Yeshiva. And
You're welcome.
Depending on your age or where you are in life, this could be a very, very, is it fair to use the word traumatic
Yes,
experience?
absolutely.
For a lot of people. So maybe you can walk us through on dealing with, I know I have some things that I'm going to share. So if y'all don't mind, I'm going to get my little free therapy on.
All good. All good.
But hopefully through what maybe I'm experiencing or things that I've heard and shared with friends that are experiencing, you can kind of coach us through a little bit. Do you mind taking a minute to do that?
Sure.
So I know that there's a lot that comes on through media. So it's social media, it's news, it's alerts, and how should we process the information that's we're being bombarded with?
Yeah, I think naturally what we do when there's a crisis, if there's some sort of trauma, is we want as much information as we can get. We want to pull it in and decipher and make sense of it all. And it's counterintuitive, but actually what we should do is really be selective about where we get our information and how much information we actually take in. So we naturally want to be on TV or watch TV and look on social to find out what's happening lately. But the better thing to do is to decide, okay, do you know what? I'm checking the news in the morning and I'm checking social at night, and you got 30 minutes for each. And once you get the key information, what you need to do if you go out, what the limitations are, those kinds of things, then you leave it alone. Because otherwise you keep taking in all of this really scary information, and it just it can make you more depressed or more anxious. And that's definitely not what we need in times like this.
I see. I get really worried. I think I get through a day and I think, okay, I got it. And then I'll get some piece of news and it's like, okay, I don't have it. Mm-hmm. So how do I, if I'm spending my whole day worrying, if I'm, taking these little snapshots, do you have any advice for how to process or deal with that?
Yeah. So one of the things to do is to know that once you process worry, it doesn't mean it's not coming back. So accepting the fact that it's like a boomerang, it's coming back. Mm-hmm. And what matters is when you see it, to accept it and let it go and not fight against it. The other thing that's really helpful, and this is going to sound really counterintuitive and a little crazy, but schedule some time to worry, right? So 15 to 30 minutes. You decide you're going to sit down, get out a piece of paper and a pen and write all your worries down, maybe some problem solving too. Whatever's in your mind, you do like a brain dump because you want to get all that stress and anxiety up and out, right? And so when you're moving through the day and you start to worry, you remind yourself, no, I'm worrying from 2 to 3. And that's when I'll do it.
And that's my block of time. Okay. Mm-hmm. So speaking of 2 to 3 blocks of time, the other challenge I know I'm having is I am mother, I'm lover, I'm wifey, I'm this, I'm that, I'm worker, I'm manager, I'm leader, and wearing all my hats at the same time.
Oh, you're wearing all your hats at the same time and in the same place.
Oh yeah, that too.
Which makes it even more difficult, right? And so what's really helpful with that is to kind of put a little schedule together for yourself. right? So here's my mommy time. You know, we wake up in the morning, we have breakfast, we get ready for school, we do that for a little bit of time. And then, you know, lunchtime comes around, we go for a walk. We finish that, and then another period of time comes around, and then that's your, you know, work and catch up time again. But it's so easy when you're doing everything in one place to have everything coming in and bombarding you at once, and that can make stress and anxiety ratchet up too.
That get tight quarters is just
Oh my
overwhelming.
goodness.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's so important to, one, realize that folks are going to get on your nerves, and that's okay. You're going to feel frustrated. Maybe you have a shorter fuse. All of that makes sense in this time and in this environment that we live in, and accepting that and allowing yourself, being patient with yourself about that is going to be really important. And it's okay to take some time for yourself. Maybe you go sit in your car for a little bit if you don't have a space in your home where you can do that. But it's okay to tell the kiddos, hey, I'm setting this timer. Please don't come interrupt me for the next 20 minutes. When the timer goes off, then you can come knock on my door.
Okay. Can it be 60 minutes?
It can be 60 minutes, depending on how old the kiddos are, right?
Can I have Or now let me ask you this. Can there be multiple intervals throughout a day where you do these?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So there's this technique, it's called, it's the Pomodoro technique, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Pomodoro technique is when you work for an allotted period of time and then you take a little break, and you work for an allotted period of time and then you take a break. And, you know, study and research shows when you do that, you're actually more productive, but then it also helps a lot for you to calm down and not be so overwhelmed by everything that's happening around you.
Okay, so we get those. So I guess if we were at work, we would have our couple hours of work with a 15-minute break, couple hours of work.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that a regimen similar to something like that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then now, speaking of work and regimens, I personally, you know, I'm getting the phone call and the other phone call. Did you do it? Did you do it? Is it done? Is it done? I know that we're also managing like different types of leadership styles and work styles at the same time. So transitioning, do you have some advice around that?
Sure. You mean transitioning from working like in an office setting to transitioning at home?
Yes.
Yeah. So as much as possible, set up the same kind of schedule that you had at work at home as much as you can. And I know that because people are stressed about this, bosses and coworkers may bombard you with emails and calls and want information right away. That's their anxiety showing up. And what you can do is take care of yourself and say what you need and set a couple parameters. Like, I'm going to be available to you between, you know, this time and this time. And then, you know, after that, I'm working on something else, so that you don't get triggered by everyone coming and asking you for things and information.
Yeah, because I consider myself a really organized person, and I have my to-do list, but then, you know, like you said, those emails and triggers kind of come through and it just, you know, implodes on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now, where is there an opportunity as a group? So if I were to get like myself and 2 or 3 of my staff on a call, you know, is there an exercise that we could do together to kind of create this environment of communication and boundaries?
Right. You mean in terms of, so maybe what you guys do is get all together and then decide, you know, each person knows how they work and they create a window for when they're available for calls and emails or when they'll be responding. And so maybe you can set up your schedule so they align in a way. So it's like, you know, 2 to 4, this is when all like the tactical stuff happens and the responses, or 8 to 8:30, I'm going to be available by phone, but, you know, 9 to 3, unless the house is on fire, right? Unless it's a major emergency, I won't be returning your calls. And the thing about that is, people get used to it and they adjust. They don't like it at first, and that's okay. New things are hard, but they adjust, and it makes things better for you.
Yeah. How do you, I know that this may fall into the worry, or this might fall into the worry category, but how are we able to in a healthy way, deal with the uncertainty? The date keeps moving, the cure's not coming. Like, how do we deal with or process the uncertainty?
Yeah. So uncertainty is the thing that drives most of the worry and stress, right? When we know what's going on, or we know what's going to happen, we can make a plan, we can get settled, and we feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So the thing to do about worry when it's linked to uncertainty is to focus on the things that you have some control over, right? Focus on the things that you can make a difference about. So we can't determine, whether or not our neighbors get C-19, or whether or not, we can go to the grocery store with, a mask or gloves. But what we can control, what we do have control over, is how safe our family is, whether we're washing our hands the way we're supposed to, whether we're social distancing the way we're supposed to. So you want to redirect your thoughts around the things that you can control and change.
Okay, no, that's really good. And it's interesting because the things you're telling or saying to me now, I've heard, I feel like I know these things, but that reminder and how to align them with the current circumstances is what is new to me right now.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. Are there other resources that we could take advantage of to help with the skill set, or, modeling some of the behaviors you mentioned?
So so the thing I want to talk about, I'm so excited about, I'm on the advisory board of the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. That's Taraji P. Henson's foundation, the amazing actress from Empire. She created this foundation in honor of her father, who had PTSD, and she is offering 5 free therapy sessions with a licensed therapist to anyone who is struggling with stress or anxiety or job insecurity related to COVID-19. So isn't that awesome?
Blessings. Yes.
All around the country.
And how do we connect? How do we get in touch? Or
so you go to her foundation website, which is BorisLHensonFoundation.com. BorisLHensonFoundation.com. Okay, I'll put that in the description box below so everybody can take advantage. And thank you for that resource. That's huge. And then to follow up, because you're here local, you're here in the Los Angeles area, if we'd like to follow up with you, how do we get in touch with you? Sure. So you can reach me by email, and it's support@kandsstherapy.com. So support, SUPPORT, at kandsstherapy.com. And you can also call us at 213-255-5629.
All right. Thank you, Yeshiva. And then just before we go, one of the platforms, or one of the major reasons for starting this, is to share the information. And then there's a component of implementation, which really equals transformation. So if you were to share something that I could do tonight before I go to bed, or something that I could, start implementing first thing in the morning, what would that one piece of advice be?
So I like to give people the just one thing idea. And what that means is just one thing that, no matter what's going on, how difficult things are, will make you feel good. Like, it just always makes you feel good. So for me, my just one thing is listening to the Good Morning song by Pharrell and Justin Timberlake and just dancing around the house like a fool. And it always makes me feel good. So your just one thing could be going for a run, going for a walk, listening to a particular song, smelling a particular fragrance, like, lavender diffusers are really great. Whatever your just one thing is, have that ready so that when you start to feel stressed or anxious, you can go right to that. You don't even have to think about it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I have to think what my just one thing is.
Yeah,
all the things you named sound like a great just one thing. So I'll have to pick one. Okay.
I can share mine with you.
Thank you. Pharrell and Justin Timberlake. Okay, got it. Yeah. But no, thank you so much. I know that the emotion, there's financial crisis, right? Those outcomes we can't predict, the unemployment rate, but the emotional impact, I felt that we were just at a point where we're not alone in this, right? That we are all in this together. And 2, that there are resources and there's, ways to get help. So I really thank you for being here and sharing today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, you're very welcome. All right. We'll see you further up the road, Miss Yeshiva. Thank you.
Okie doke.
All right.
All right.